Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the party. Ain't nothing but a run her party. Ain't nothing but a brother run party. I hope y'all can hear me. You hear the words come out my mouth. Do you hear the words coming out of my mouth? Just testing the microphone. It is time for the We All Be show. Okay, it's like everything good. Like everything's good. Welcome everybody to a wonderful, edutaining, infotaining edition of We All Be. This is a 2020 Jimmy Lunsford Jamboree Festival program. I'm your host for this empowerment segment of Black Excellence, Brother Ron, also known as R2C2H2 Artemis. We're coming in early, trying to hit y'all before the plantation. Try to keep my promise of having some original programming content in honor of the 2020 Jimmy Lunsford Jamboree Festival. I said festival, right? Not festival, but festival, not festival. All right, not festival, but festival, right? Honoring a great black man. Black excellence matters, and we here to celebrate it with all the tea, with some lemon juice and honey in my tea. In these harsh times we're living in, But this is a great time to be alive. And if you are bored in 2020, you're not living life right. If you are bored in 2020, you are not living life right. Who needs football or basketball or sports or movies when your life is a movie? And it's up to you to create the soundtrack to your life. So I want to thank y'all for tuning in, for hanging out with me. Thank you for encouraging this We All Be InfoWar movement, because knowledge is the currency of the universe. So we're going to get into it today. I appreciate all the feedback on these shows we've been doing. Thank you all. The real Dana, see you in his house. Brother Ollie, thank you. Doris, thank you. Good evening, everybody. And knowing the words of Duke Ellington, we love you all madly. But I mean, I'm just trying to educate you all. Like, it's good to do the gossipy stuff and all this stuff, but I'm here to give y'all the history about our story. We got to reclaim the narrative and tell these stories on our own terms. Good evening, Ivory Green Oliver, and we love you madly. All you people, all you help cats and sisters out there, sisters, we're going to get into it. I want to add to the Vera Little story. We talked about Vera Little. She is our posthumous queen, homecoming court for the Jimmy Lunsford Jamboree Festival in this year of 2020. Vera Little, or Vera, like Vera Wang, Vera Little, opera star from North Memphis, come from a very amazing musical family, the Little family of North. Raise your thumbs up. North Memphis, from Manassas High School, the pride of Manassas High. Her little brother was none other than the late great Booker Little, who only lived to be 23 years young, but left his mark on music history. Every time I meet a brother or sister or musician that played with Booker Little, they have nothing but great things to say about this beautiful soul. He wasn't here for long, but his contribution has lasted for a long, long time. So this is why we do what we do, man. We want to honor our ancestors, the righteous ones, and get y'all help. My dream is to really make these people I talk about household names among black people. Don't wait for Netflix or CNN for y'all to acknowledge the greatness of our people, past and present, and going into the future. Good evening, Sweet Cheeks from Las Vegas. Thank you. Everybody, good evening. God bless everybody for tuning in. May y'all receive amplified blessings for receiving this message. But let's get into Vera Little a little bit. I found her picture. She was the first ADOS, I guess, Black American singer to perform at the Vatican back in 1959 before Pope John the 23rd. She was at the Vatican April 4th, 1959. April 4th is a significant date in Black history. Of course, April 4th, 68. Dr. King get killed in Memphis, her hometown, April 4th, 1972. We lose the Right Reverend Representative Adam Clayton Powell Jr. April 4th, 2015, the shooting of Walter Scott in North Charleston. And so many things happen on April 4th. April 4th is also the birthday of the one and only Maya Angelou, who was dear friends of both Dr. King and Malcolm X. And like she said, it was hard for her to celebrate her birthday on April 4th because of what happened to her dear friend Martin on that date in 68. So, let me see. We're going to get into Vera Little because she was a very talented woman, multi-talented, because she was a poet and she wrote short stories. Very talented sister. And let me see. Let's see what I want to do. I'm always looking for information. You know, Vera Little. She actually died at the age of 83. She didn't make it to 84. Her birthday is in December, and she died in October of 2012. So she didn't make it all the way to the end, but she left her mark, right? So I also want to read something that she wrote. She used to write poetry. She actually published a book of her poems and short stories. She wrote a couple. I think she wrote an autobiography as well too. But I'm gonna read a poem she wrote called "In Darkness" that came out in 1976. She was a poet, a wordsmith, and a brilliant songstress, an opera star. "In Darkness" by Vera Little, 1976. I close my eyes and night surrounds me. I open my soul and light beams bright. I open my eyes and the flames engulf me. I open my mind and sink deeper than the sea. I close my soul and sink in sorrow, deeper than the bottom of the ocean, farther away from any day and tomorrow. I close my mind and the thoughts move on, swifter than a narrow canoe, racing over a turbulent waterfall. One sees without looking, feels without being conscious, travels while sitting still, thinks when one's mind sleeps. What marvel of a pastime for us humans to keep. Yes, I close my eyes and open my soul. That's her words. One of her poems she wrote called In Darkness. Talented, brilliant woman. But like they say, a prophet is always without honor in their hometown or country among family and friends, right? That's very biblical. I know I'm paraphrasing it and butchering it at the same time, but it's just food for thought, man. Uh, Black people are amazing. Black women are amazing. Black men are amazing. The Black family is amazing. She came from a very good family. Both her parents were musicians, from my understanding. And they must have been amazing people, well respected in the community because they raised some outstanding children. So, like I always tell people, the real holy trinity is the Black man, woman, and child. There's nothing we can't do when we are on the same page, united and struggling together for the right reasons, all in the name of Black love, solidarity, unity, and power. So, yeah. And so let me read some more about Sister Vera. Like I said, she was the first Black American entertainer, female or male, to sing at the Vatican. This happened in 1959. And what better person to be a person like her from that type of musical pedigree from the city of good old Memphis? Like I told y'all, there are more songs about Memphis that have been recorded in any city in America, more than New York, Chicago, L.A. Name any city in America. Nobody have more songs written or recorded about it than Memphis, Tennessee. So there's something special. Maybe it's in the water or something. There's something going on in Memphis. But a lot of Memphians don't know about it, which is very unfortunate. And that's why I do what I do. I'm not just like, people say, man, you just love Memphis. I love knowing about who we are as a people. Memphis is the birthplace of Black radio. WDIA was the first all-black radio format in the country that premiered in 1948. B.B. King used to have a radio show on WDIA, and WDIA still exists. Okay, but that was the first black radio format in the country. Ivy Wells, rightfully I say the mother of investigative journalism, started her journalism career in Memphis. She owned her newspaper office in Memphis on Bill Street. So Memphis is a very mythical place. But I just want people to know the greatness of Memphis, because people be crapping on Memphis about first 48 and all this mess. But you gotta understand, man, this is all by design. Like, Memphis one of the poorest, big cities in the country, but it's engineer poverty. How can you be poor when you like the headquarters for AutoZone and FedEx, and you got a lot of millionaires live in this area in Memphis and in the Delta? So this stuff is really weird. It's all by design, man. It's programming. But we're gonna get our mind right tonight and beyond. So that was Sister Vera Little. And I'm trying to find that picture of her with the Pope. I love it. If I could find it. I want to read some more bio. Yeah, that's where Pope John Paul the 23rd. That's power right there. That's black woman. Y'all know the Madonna's black, right? The actual original Madonna. Jesus black, right? Jesus black. Jesus is black. Jesus black. Okay, but the black Madonna, you got a lot of black Madonnas in Europe. Y'all need to read some J.A. Rogers, man. Get hip to the game. Read you some Dr. Ivan Van Sertima that came before Columbus. Read all that stuff, man. And be open to receiving knowledge and also questioning time-honored truths. Because information changes. Facts can change when more data becomes available. So be open to receiving everything to help you to heighten the contradictions and to develop a critical thinking mind. So that's her. That's April 4th, 1959. So y'all say, well, Brother Ron taught us about Vera Little, and she's buried over in Germany. And let's read a little bit about her background again. And I believe she was married to a German. She got, I don't know who that, but Vera Pearl Little Augustitis. I don't know what that is. That's got a hyphen name. Sunrise December 10th, 1928. Sunset October 24th, 2012. Was an American contralto and mezzo-soprano opera singer who belonged to the ensemble of the Dutch Oper Berlin or Deutsche Oper Berlin for more than 4 decades. She performed each of the important mezzo-soprano roles of the repertoire, appearing at major international opera houses and festivals. She took part in world premieres of operas by Hans Werner Henze in 1965, Der Young Lord in Berlin, and in 1966 died by Saarbrücken at the Salzburg Festival. I know I'm butchering stuff, but it is what it is. Little was born in Memphis, Tennessee. She won a Munich opera competition in 1950. After graduating from Talladega College in Alabama in 1952, she came to Paris to study with a Fulbright scholarship with Georges Jouat. She studied further in Rome, Copenhagen, and in Germany with Margaret Barwinkel and Richard Singleton. In 1958, Karl Ebert brought her to Berlin to what is then called the Staatliche Oper Berlin, later the Deutsche Oper Berlin, where she remained based for more than 4 decades. There she had a major success in 1963 in the title role of Bizet's Carmen. She took part in the 1965 world premiere of Hans Werner Henze's The Young Lord as Begonia. She was the first African-American singer to perform at the invitation of Vittorio Gui in the Vatican before Pope John the 23rd, singing a Bach cantata in 1959, which made her internationally known. She appeared at the Salzburg Festival in 1966 in the world premiere of Hans's Die Bassarintin. She recorded the role of Giovanna in Donizetti's Anna Bolena, conducted by Alberto Herrera in 1967, broadcast by West Duster Rundfunk. In 1970, she was awarded the title Kammersänger. I don't know. I'm just mispronouncing stuff probably. After many negotiations and complications, She appeared in 1973 for the first time in her hometown of Memphis as Ulrika in Verdi's On Ballo and Mascara. Besides music, she was interested in literature. She wrote poems, some of which were set to music by Boris Blocher. Some were translated by Hans Wasserschlager. In 1999, she published a memoir of her career. Little died in Berlin at the age of, says 84, but was she really 84? She was 83. So that's why, you can't believe everything you read. But I just want to give a little bit of more background on Vera Little, because I think she should be better known by Black people and by America. She made amazing contribution to the world. It kind of reminded me of little ways like Ira Aldridge, who had to leave New York back in the 1830s because he didn't want to wear blackface. Ira Aldridge, one of the greatest Shakespearean actors of all time. He was born a free man or a free person of color in New York City. He also was a star at the African Grove Theater. It's a black repertory theater up in New York back in the 1820s, and got burned down under questionable circumstances, from my understanding. And so when they were trying to bring the blackface on into American entertainment, he said, "Hell no, I must go." So he left America for Europe and became a superstar performing Shakespeare. That's Ira Aldridge. Look up Ira Aldridge. Take a look. It's all online. Can't be denied. Okay. Moving on. We almost 17 minutes into this thing. And I spent a lot of time talking about Lil Hardin Armstrong. To me, the first lady of jazz. She made Louis Armstrong into a superstar, but also she was a Memphian. She was born in Memphis, February 3rd, 1898. Her people is from Oxford, Mississippi, which is the home of Ole Miss, University of Mississippi. So that's once again that Mississippi connection. It's something about Mississippi. A lot of great folks got connected to Mississippi. They come out of Mississippi, black and white, and all colors and points in between. Some great folks come out that state, the Magnolia State. So I'm going to talk about a little bit about Lil Hardin Armstrong. We honored her last year as the posthumous queen of the 2019 Jimmy Lunsford Jamboree Festival. So she was honored, and I can't stop talking about this woman. She's one of my Black History dream girls. Her, Ida B. Wells Barnett, Ida Overton Walker, the queen of the cakewalk. If y'all don't know who she is, she was gorgeous. Look up Ida Overton Walker. And I'm talking more about her, I guess, this week, man. It's so much to talk about, man. But yeah, those are my Black History dream girls. Those are several of them. So I'm going to show y'all a little bit something about Lil Hardin Armstrong, and we'll come back right back, because we're going to talk about my grandma Britto. That's my paternal grandmother, who passed away at the age of 88 4 years ago. I had a near-death experience about 10 years ago, actually, I believe. I think about 10 years ago. And it was a voice called The Source that told me about myself. He told me I need to look into my family background on my grandma's side, my paternal grandma's side. So you got some interesting people that you are related to on that side of your family trees. So I'm going to talk about Grandma Britto. We'll talk about Charlie Parker. And then before all that, let's get this tribute out the way for the one and only Lil Hardin Armstrong, who, in the word of Duke Ellington, is truly beyond category. To me, she's the mother of modern American music because she helped cultivate the career of Louis Daniel Armstrong, known to the world as Pops and Satchmo, man. So we'll get on with that and keep it moving. But thank y'all for supporting the We All Be platform, because viewers like you keep us going through donations, words of encouragement, things of that nature. Because it's hard out here for a truth teller and a person that cares. So thank y'all for sticking and riding with us, and We All Be. We could do this type of programming. Like, we like to do all the sensationalized stuff. Yeah, we have Judge Joe Brown on, Dr. Randy Short, and everybody else. But I like doing this stuff too, because this is like where you need to teach our people about our history. Because it shouldn't take no Netflix movie for us to get interest in our history. It shouldn't take no Netflix documentary for us to care about our people. We should be the ones doing the storytelling and the gatekeepers of our traditions and our cultures. We don't need no white validation. We don't need no white validation. Just need to be educated. I'm just making up crap on them. Okay. Without further ado, let's get into this tribute to Lil Hardin Armstrong. On We All Be.
This is Brother Ron, and welcome to We All Be News Radio and TV, the news-free Dixie for the 21st century.
How could I possibly know? How could I have concealed that you'd hurt me so? I'll never have believed it. I was a fool, but you were cruel just for a thrill. You changed the sunshine into rain just for a thrill. You made my whole life with pain. To me, you were pride and joy. Oh, but to you, I was merely a toy, a plaything you could toss around at will, just for a thrill. You made my life one sad song just for a thrill. You let me alone. Although you're free and having your fun, to me you're still the only one. For you make my heart stand still just for a thrill. Although you're free and having your fun, to me, you're still the only one. For you make my heart stand still just for a thrill. You did it, you did it, you did it just for a thrill. Thank you. Y'all are so wonderful. I just love all of you.
Well, of course, now I wasn't with the band when he first came because, you see, Joe had, as I said, he had been in California, came back and brought this Gonzalez, Britto Gonzalez. So when Louis came, Britto was playing with him.
I see.
And the Gardens.
Mm-hmm.
But Joe brought Louis over to Dreamland where I was playing the first night he was there and introduced Louis to me. And what Louis had written Joe before when he saw a picture, said, "Tell Miss Miller I like her." So when Joe brought him over there, I took one look at him, I said, because I didn't like the way he was dressed, and I said, he said to myself, "You like me."
How was he dressed?
Well, just like the typical New Orleans fellas were dressing then, but the Chicago fellas dressed differently.
Yeah. What was he? He wasn't a city
slicker.
No.
No, he wasn't dressed. In fact, none of the New Orleans fellas dressed like the Chicago fellas.
Didn't he have bangs?
Oh, that's what you want me to say. You want to know what the hairstyle was? Yeah, well, they're wearing bangs now, so it couldn't have been so bad, huh? Yes, he had bangs that I hadn't seen because they little bangs right out in front. And none of the rest of the fellas had bangs. They had the hair on slicked back, But so getting rid of those bangs was my first project. Well, we did get together.
Well, when did you first hear Louis play, and how did?
Well, I first heard him play when I joined the band.
Uh-huh.
See, Joe asked me to come and join the band again.
I see.
Well, frankly, I didn't know enough about jazz to know who was better than the other one or which one was the best or what. It all sounded all right to me. And naturally, too, since Louis was playing second trumpet to Joe, I couldn't distinguish too much. But Joe himself told me one night, he says, Louis plays more trumpet than I'll ever play. He said, but as long as I keep him with me, he won't get ahead of me. I said, yeah. So then I started listening to Louis as best I could, I never told Louis, Joe told me that until 1954.
Oh, what did he say?
Oh, boy. He was very hurt. Yeah,
because big idol.
Yeah, I didn't tell him then because Louis and I weren't sweethearts or anything. Joe just happened to tell me that. But when Louis and I started going together and got married, then I remember Joe telling me that. Mm-hmm. That's why I insisted on him quitting the band and going out and leaving Joe. Mm-hmm. No, I didn't tell Louis why, because if I'd said to Louis that Joe said you were better than this, he would have gone and asked Joe. Joe would have said no, he didn't say it. I'd been the bad one.
Right.
So I didn't say a thing, but I just started working on it. I told Louis my excuse was I didn't want to be married to a second trumpet player. I wanted the first one. Right.
Oh, when the saints go
go marching in, oh yeah. Oh, when the saints go marching in, oh yeah, baby. Oh, I wanna be playing in the number. Oh, when the saints go marching in, oh yeah. That's all when them saints, oh yeah, baby. Go marching in, when them saints go marching in there. Oh, I want to be the number daddy. When old big fella call our number, oh yeah. When them saints come marching in with red beans and rice. Oh, yeah. All right, I made a fool of myself. Make a point. Lil Hardin Armstrong is the reason why we know about Louis Armstrong. Let me tell you the story. I finished, like I said, she moved to Chicago, right? She was a piano player for his mentor named King Oliver, one of the top brass cornet. This is not a trumpet, it's a cornet. It's over 100 years old. This is a 100-year-old cornet. You know, I got it because I'm an artist. I draw. I do artwork. This is Jimmy Lunsford, my interpretation of Jimmy Lunsford on my chest. A woman in art school about 20 years ago gave me this trumpet or cornet in exchange for a drawing. So I guess it was a good trade-off. But she was playing for King Oliver, his mentor in Chicago. When King Oliver called Louis Armstrong up from New Orleans, he was kind of like a country bumpkin. According to Lil Hardin Armstrong, he said he was little. He was anything but little. That boy he was so country. He had bangs in his hair. He had too tight clothes on. And there's a song called Tramp with Carla Thomas, one of our other honorees, and Otis Redding. Listen to the song Tramp. That's how she was describing Louis Armstrong when she first met him. But the thing about Louis Armstrong was the fact that one day, Lil was talking to her boss, King Oliver, his mentor. And King Oliver told her, you know what, Lil? Lou would never be great. He is a great musician, but he don't believe in himself. He would never leave me. He would always be the second fiddle or the second trumpet or the second cornet because he have no confidence in himself. And then you know how some of you women get like, let me upgrade him. Let me level him up. I can see some potential in little Louis now. Let me see what I'm going to do. So this is what she did. She forced him to fire himself from King Oliver's band. She got rid of his bangs, got rid of his tight clothes, married him, upgraded him, tailor-made suits, got rid of the bangs, like I said, sent him to New York City to get more famous. He ended up playing for the greatest jazz band in all the land. This back in the early 20s. Jazz back then was like the rap today. Rap is the most popular music today. Jazz was the most popular music back in this time. So she sent him up to Roseland Ballroom to play for the great Fletcher Henderson Orchestra back in 1924. The Roseland Ballroom was recently closed down by Lady Gaga. She had the last concert a couple years ago at the Roseland Ballroom. That's how old that ballroom is and prestigious it was. But she called him back. Okay, Louis, it's time for the bigger leagues. So she called him back to Chicago and she said, I got a gig for you, Louis. We're gonna play the Dreamland Cafe. So they played the Dreamland Cafe. We came back at a big old banner that said world's greatest cornet or trumpet player. And so why I'm saying all this woman saw potential in this man before he believed in himself. She saw the masterpiece in the rough. Not only did she do that for him, but she also helped organize some of the most important music recordings of all time. Look up the Hot 5 and Hot 7 recordings. This is the birthplace, the Rosetta Stone for modern American music. A Black woman from Memphis helped create that. She helped organize the arrangements, copyright the music. She helped with vocals. She played piano. This woman was a force when women were not considered to be forces to be reckoned with in jazz. This is early jazz. This woman stood her ground with the men. So she made Louis famous. He ended up moving on. They moved on, all right? Because Louis Armstrong was married 4 times. There's nothing you gotta know. We don't teach history the right way. We don't tell the ugly truth sometimes. Louis Armstrong was married 4 times, right? His second wife was Lil, but his first wife was Daisy Parker. She was a prostitute. And that made Louis a what? All right, whatever, all right. Smoke weed every day. No, I'm just joking. He did smoke weed every day. That's another story. It's not for here. This is school. He smoked weed every day, but that's not a school. It's not a, y'all talking about Snoop Dogg. Snoop Dogg's birthday was yesterday. But Lewis was smoking weed before Snoop Dogg was even before his parents were born, even before his grandparents were born. Okay, let's get another story. But he never forgot about what Lil did for him. So when he died in July 6th of 1971, he allowed her to ride in the family car for the funeral. So on August 27, 1971, she was performing at a concert in Chicago. She performed the St. Louis Blues for Louis Armstrong on TV at the piano, and she died. Just several weeks after he died. So that's how close they was. But you talking about Beyonce and Jay-Z, this was the real Black Power music couple right there. Louis Armstrong and Lil Hardin Armstrong. So give a round of applause for the ancestor, Lil Hardin Armstrong.
And I'm back. Yeah, that's my tribute we did to Lil Hardin Armstrong last year. She was the posthumous homecoming court queen for last year. Well deserved, I believe. One of the great women in Black history. She stood by her man, stood behind her man, and pushed him into greatness. So we are thankful. The world owes a debt to Lil Hardin Armstrong for helping us get be able to get the genius for posterity of Louis Armstrong. So we actually did that at the school. Shout out to Dr. John Bass on guitar, director of the Mike Curb Institute at Rhodes College, and also to the one and only, the truly beyond category, Sister Earlis Taylor. She was our homecoming court queen last year. Unsung, brilliant artist, a true humanitarian. She sung Lil's signature song, Just for a Thrill. And that was a very popular song, actually. People like Ray Charles and especially the great Aretha Franklin, who's from Memphis as well, sung that song. There's so many different versions of that song, but Lil Hardin wrote that song. And she really was a pioneer for women in music because she helped, create the career of Louis Armstrong, took it to the stratosphere, made him a superstar back in the 20s. And also she was a band leader. As a woman, she was a band leader. She led her own swing bands. She wrote a lot of great songs, like I said, Just for a Thrill. She helped Lewis organize the historic Hot 5 and Hot 7 sessions. These are the Rosetta Stone for not only jazz, but also modern American music. This is why I call her the mother of modern American music, or the first lady of jazz, or whatever. Lil deserves everything in terms of praise and all that stuff. As far as just as a decent human being, as a musician. Thank you, Sister Duckworth and Edwards. Thank you. Round of applause for great. I'm gonna share that. Yeah, I love making a fool of myself for a great cause, but yeah, it's an honor to be able to work with first rate musicians and all type of creatives to bring our stories alive. That was actually at Manassas High School where we did that performance. I pride myself on having the festival week kickoff at Manassas High School. This is where Jimmy Lunsford did his thing back in the 1920s. Although the original building is no longer standing, they have a new facility. This facility they're currently in is less than 20 years old. But in the spirit of Manassas High School, the greatness of their past, it's equivalent what they did for high school for the culture. What they did in terms of high school music is equivalent to what the Dallas Cowboys, the Lakers, or the Celtics, or the Yankees. They got a very, very, very great and storied history that needs to be continued. Now, the problem with Manassas is they can't keep a music director longer there than maybe 1 or 2 years. They keep on changing music directors. So the program is always in flux. It's never like it's been steady where they can have a program or band director there for a number of years to build up the students' confidence in their instruments and also presentation. That is sorely lacking, and it really is a black eye for the schools not to have Manassas in all their glory doing the music thing. Like I said, a lot of great people came through that music program over the years and decades. So much so that Miles Davis had to talk about it because so many of his band members in the early 60 bands of his were coming out of Manassas. They had Manassas High School connections, like George Coleman, Harold Mayburn, Frank Strozier, people like that, first-rate musicians. So I could never get tired of talking about Lil Hardin Armstrong or people like Jimmy Lunsford and stuff like that. But thank y'all for receiving the information and for tuning in. Like I said, like I promise y'all, I'll be doing at least 13 or 14 straight days of programming dedicated to Black music history in honor of the legacy of the one and only James Melvin Lunsford, also known as Jimmy Lunsford. Now, also, I want to share some more of my connection pertaining to Jimmy Lunsford and Charlie Parker. Yeah, the Charlie Parker. Don't you know, August 29th marked his centennial debut. Charlie Parker turned 100 years old back on August 29th. You know, August 29th is a really spectacular day in Black history. August 29th is also the birthday of Dinah Washington, the great Dinah Washington. See, I said Dinah Washington, the great Dinah Washington, one of my favorite singers of all time. August 29th is also the birthday of Sister Albertina Walker, the queen, one of the queens of gospel music. Albertina Walker was born August 29th. And also, guess who else was born August 29th? Michael Jackson, arguably the greatest entertainer of all time, was born on August 29th. So, yeah, Charlie Parker, born on August 29th. Dinah Washington, born on August 29th. Albertina Walker, born on August 29th. And Michael Jackson, born on August 29th. One of the reasons why Black August is an unofficial Black History Month. Black August is Black August, y'all. So he nominate blessings, 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 blessings. News-free Dixie for the 21st century. Thank you so much. It's a humbling experience, but as long as I got breath in my body and I'm able, I'm going to tell our stories on my terms by any means necessary. You know, so yeah. So speaking of Bird, I got a couple connections to Charlie Parker and Jimmy Lunsford. And I did the show early tonight because normally I be struggling late at night. But when I get on here and y'all give me so much energy, I'm at the Energizer Bunny. I can go on and on and on and on. But I got to go to the plantation in about 20, 30 minutes. So just want to get this out the way. And I got a lot of great things coming up in terms of Jimmy Lunsford Festival. Like I said, we're going to be going to at least either the 30th. I might end it on New Year's Eve. I might give y'all, like, instead of 13 days, 14 days of original programming centered around our heritage and stuff like that. And so, man, this year is flying by. I can't believe it's December. Stuff is crazy. It's got to be Christmas. Man, but enjoy y'all family. Enjoy your time while you can. Like Baba Dick Gregory said, time's up. Recess time is over, man. These folks ain't playing with us, man. They serious. They are serious in here. They ain't playing, man. They are not playing with us. Not quite. Yeah, man, but love on your people, man. Love on your people. Cause nothing is promised. I know I lost a lot of people this year. I didn't think about it. But I had lost a lot of people from COVID and from a lot of other stuff. I got people struggling right now. Sending out thoughts and prayers to Mrs. Clara McLeod. She is the wife of one of my dearest Jegnas, Dean James McLeod, former vice chancellor of Washington University in St. Louis. Really like a godfather or an angel. He watched over me while I was going through my stuff at Washington University. State of Missouri. I always call it Missouri, not Missouri or Missouri, but Missouri. So I was at Washington University as an undergrad in the art school, and really he was looking out for me, man. He really believed in me. She believed in me. They purchased some original art from me when I couldn't make it through the work study. I actually fired myself from the work study program. I was working for Mrs. Clara McLeod at the Earth and Planetary Sciences Library. And I was not the best work student. I was not the best employee. I even went upstairs one time to go to sleep. I snore and stuff like that, so they heard me. So I actually fired myself one day. I did her a favor and myself a favor, and I fired myself. But she believed in my art, and she actually purchased one of my drawings. Her and Dean McLeod, they helped me out, and they always been supportive of me over the years. She's struggling right now with COVID-19. They try and put her into a rehabilitation center. You know what that means, trying to put on that ventilator. So they'll be praying for her or send out some good vibes and high vibrational frequencies and peace and healing towards her way. Sister Clara McLeod, she lost her last living sibling recently. She lost my mentor, my Jegna, her husband, almost 10 years ago. He passed away in September 2011, James McLeod. He passed away the same week of one of my art shows, The Most Known Unknown, my tribute to the 3-6 Mafia. I named my art show that because, Memphis cats are interested because we got a lot of influence. A lot of times people don't know our names. They know that, hey, that influence comes from Memphis. Oh, Memphis guys got a lot of interesting way to do things. But a lot of times we don't get the credit that we deserve for being the real innovators and game changers. So he actually died the week of my art show opening in St. Louis. So it was crazy because I had my art show opening that Friday, and then I went to his funeral on Saturday. It was very surreal. So right now his widow is struggling to send some thoughtful prayers and meditation her way. I hope she get well very soon. And we love her madly, as they say. So, man, there's a lot to deal with right now. Yeah, this is the picture right here. Show you my connection, my family connection to Charlie Parker and Jimmy Lunsford. You see that picture in the middle? The one person highlighted that's standing up, that's my paternal grandmother when she was a teenager in Kansas City. Letha French. Her name was Letha French. Herb Britto. She married to my paternal grandfather, Herbert Hurd Sr. And then she got married to an Indian from India. And his last name was Britto. But before that, she was a French. She was like the youngest child of my paternal great-grandfather, who was born into slavery in South Carolina back in 1862, T.J. French. He actually changed his last name to French because he killed a white neighbor who was harassing his mom. And so he had to leave the state of South Carolina. He moved to Kansas City, Kansas. He met my paternal great-grandmother, Ann Miller, in Joplin, Missouri. And they settled in Kansas City, Kansas. He had his kids late. So like by the time my grandmother was born, he was like almost 70 years old. He was like 66 or something like that years old. And so he was actually an entrepreneur, a master barber by trade. He had a pool hall. He was like all about working for yourself. So she was the last of his 10 children. And my grandma had a unique life. And I'm just read this tribute I did of her. She passed away 4 years ago at the age of 88, years young. And she was married almost to the Indian guy for 42 years, my step-grandfather, Grandpa Neville Britto. He ended up dying at the end of the month. She died August 3rd, 2016. By the end of the month, he was dead. They found him dead in her favorite chair in the kitchen. He would always write her love letters every day before he went to work. He was a college professor, a long-time educator. But this is, she had a unique life. She was married to my paternal grandfather for 20 years. He got killed on the job under questionable circumstances. He was a labor and union organizer, and a machine crushed him to death. But he had a premonition about his death. As a matter of fact, somebody called my auntie who just passed away this year, my aunt Stephanie, called home while they was having dinner. She was told by a woman who called her at college that her father was dead. And he was sitting at the table eating dinner with the family. And my grandmother answered the phone and said, "Baby, your daddy ain't dead. He's right here eating dinner with us." Then my grandfather said something like, "Not yet." Like he said something very cryptic, "Not yet." The next thing you know, he died. He got killed. And the reason why I think he was murdered, one of the reasons why, because all his friends who worked with him on the job got promotions. And they told their wives not to speak with my grandmother anymore. Don't be friendly with her anymore. So, I don't know, man. It's strange. But the reason why I brought her up, because music is in my bones, man, because she used to sing in a choir in high school. And she's the one in the middle highlighted. And let me just read what I wrote about her, and then we can move on. My late paternal grandma, Lita Britto, led a very fascinating life and has an interesting family background narrative. In this photo, she is the 16-year-old girl highlighted with her high school choir group. My grandma hails from Jazz Med, Kansas City on the Kansas side and was the youngest of 10 children. She grew up during the Great Depression, but had a very rich life. The king of modern jazz and all-world music genius, Charlie Yardbird Parker, was a childhood friend of her older brothers, my great uncles. He used to play his music at their nightclubs and eat at their restaurants. I come from a long line of entrepreneurs and do-it-for-yourself black folks. My grandma's father was one of the first blacks in Kansas City to own substantial real estate and run thriving businesses in the black community. My grandma's high school vocal group so impressed the great Jimmy Lunsford, the real king of swing, that they were chosen to be his opening act when he came to town with the most popular jazz and dance orchestra, the Jimmy Lunsford Orchestra, for African Americans nationally in the 1930s and 40s. I interviewed my grandma about her amazing experience, and her interview will be included in a documentary about Jimmy Lunsford that I am producing. My grandma lived to be 88 years old. 88 keys are in a piano. My grandma had music in her soul and bones and loved to dance until she couldn't no more. Also, I am related to the great Curtis Mayfield through her bloodline. More on that later. See how it works somewhere. We heart to you madly, Grandma Britto. Rest well, Jazz Angel. Jazz-liciously yours, your proud grandson. So, yeah. I can't make this up, man. Because Charlie Parker is from Kansas City, but his father's from Memphis. His father's from Memphis by the way of Clarksdale, Mississippi. Like the old timers had a saying, they said Charlie Parker was born in Kansas City, but he was conceived in Memphis. His father actually worked the Chitlin Circuit, and I think he was a Pullman porter and a cook. And he was actually stabbed to death when Charlie Parker was still a teenager. I believe like either a lover or a prostitute or both. I don't know. But yeah. So my grandma Britto was interesting. And her brothers and sisters like characters. When I look at that show Fargo, season 4 with Chris Rock, it reminds me of her people. Because they were very colorful individuals, her family. 10, 9 brothers and sisters, and her make 10, right? So they had an interesting family in Kansas City. Very unique people, very independent, enterprising people who work for themselves. So I never knew I had these type of connections to these people. I was fans of Charlie Parker and Jimmy Lunsford before I knew the connection, the family connection that I had to these guys. And that means the ancestors are powerful. They at work always. I'm doing fine, Brother Alfred. Yeah, Sister Michelle, thank you. It's a beautiful family story. Thank you, Sister Duckworth, sending peace and healing for her through the universe. For Sister Clara McLeod, she's been on my mind. Like I said, I had not realized I lost so many people this year. like quietly. So people are leaving. It's just been so hard for humanity right now. A lot of these evil entities out here trying to destroy humanity, but God will help the final say. But it is what it is. Yeah, so I want to play something from my Uncle Frenchie about Charlie Parker. I think we can close it out. Yeah, I gotta close. I gotta go to the plantation and be the overseer. But my Uncle Frenchie, James French, her brother, he's the second youngest sibling. He was born in 1926. He's still around. He's struggling a little bit, but he almost 100 years young. And I thank God I met him on his 87th birthday down in Charleston, South Carolina. He founded and owned the Charleston Chronicle. That's the oldest black-owned newspaper in the state of South Carolina. My Uncle Frenchie is like the most interesting man in the world. He has an amazing backstory, amazing life. He's a hometown hero in Charleston. There's a street named after him in Charleston. And he's a good man. He's a great man. I met him on his 87th birthday back on October 7th, 2013. And I had a chance to sit down with him on several occasions since that time to get the background story on our family. And he shared with me some interesting insights about Charlie Parker, who I said before he was a neighbor. He grew up with my great uncles. He worked for my great uncles. And when my Aunt Tilly moved to Detroit, he would hang around her. My Aunt Tilly was an interesting woman. She used to run numbers for the Detroit mob. She was a numbers queen, a policy queen. That's the Ghetto Lottery. And she's worked for the Detroit mob. And her house was like a place for jazz musicians to get good food and good weed. So, man, she was a great cook. She could do it all. She was a carpenter, a cook, even a madam, numbers runner, or numbers queen for the mob, all this stuff. Very colorful character. Never had a chance to meet her, but my Uncle Frenchie actually stayed with her when we moved to Detroit, I guess right before he joined the Navy, or he's still in the Navy, or just got into the Navy. But anyway, let him tell the story about his thoughts about his friend Charlie Parker, the Jazz King from Kansas City. And you are watching We All Be News Free Dixie for the 21st century. I thank y'all for being very patient.
Why is this like? Is it strange to read about people that you interviewed? Or I mean, you grew up with Charlie Parker, but you see him in like now he's thinking about this jazz great. Do you see him being this great figure in music history? Or
yeah, he deserves all he can earn as a respect as a musician. As an individual, his reputation was a little always suspect, because I know when I met him after I left Kansas City, I was in Detroit, and they come down to had a gig down the Paradise Theater, and he recognized me. I was up front in my Navy uniform, and And he was jamming up there, They didn't recognize me sitting down in that row car. He knew me from Kansas City, my brother's place. He stopped the show and introduced me and invited me up to the platform, the stage.
Mm-hmm.
And then he pulled out a pack of cigarettes and gave them to me. Now, I don't smoke, period, okay?
Uh-huh.
But I was a pack of marijuanas.
Mm.
And he started laughing like a fool. I gave him back his smokes.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. So it was one of those times.
And what was the name of your brother's place in Kansas City where Charlie Parker used to eat at?
What's the name of it?
Yes, sir.
It called it Frenchie.
Frenchie, that's what his name, like Frenchie with IE at the end?
Yeah.
All right, cool.
Yeah.
And so it was like a restaurant and that's it?
Restaurant, nightclub in the back.
Okay.
Musician come and jam.
Like Charlie Parker used to come and jam in
Yeah,
there?
right.
And they eat chitlins?
Yeah.
Okay. Was that his favorite dish from your brother's place?
Well, that was the only place that he can go and hang and be himself.
Really? And it was like 18th and Vine?
No, that was in Kansas City, Kansas.
Oh, Kansas City, Kansas. He was born in Kansas City, Kansas.
Yeah, right, on called Fifth Street, 5th and Richmond, about 2 blocks from where we lived and had a home raised up.
Oh, wow. Cool. You ever get a chance? I know you said we related to Curtis Mayfield. You ever get a chance to meet Curtis Mayfield?
No, never did.
Okay, but you know his brother or his cousin?
Well, I knew of the family.
Mm-hmm.
We never were that. Back in those days, you didn't get a chance to meet them big shots.
Mm-hmm. I met you, so I guess a new day.
New day.
New day. All right, man. Uncle Frenchie, thank you so much.
Yeah.
So that's my Uncle Fritchie. Please keep it in your thoughts and prayers. He had some health struggles recently, but I had a chance to interview him for a couple of hours to get that family history. And I'm glad I was able to take that trip to South Carolina to meet him finally on his 87th birthday. Fascinating man, legendary man. It's like, he had spaghetti dinner with Lucky Luciano over in Naples, Italy. He used to go clubbing with Ava Gardner and Ida Bricktop Smith over in Rome. He even had beers with Fidel Castro in Cuba. They had a bullfight in his honor at a town in Cuba. So, he's an interesting dude. Probably the most interesting man in the world. But, that would do it for this edition for the Jimmy Lunch Jamboree Festival. I had to get it out early because I know I'd be struggling getting home after work trying to do these shows because I promise y'all at least 13 straight days of original content and programming and insight and analysis of not only the legacy of Jimmy Lunsford, but also our heritage as Black music heritage, culture, and history. And I don't know too many other platforms now that I'm bragging that does the type of work that I do, like as far as the range that we do, that we cover. All right. So I'm gonna pat myself on the back. Y'all pat yourself on the back, give yourself a round of applause, give myself a round of applause. Let me read the disclaimer and we get out of here. Thank you, family, for being patient and for receiving the words that's coming out of my mouth. So to get this disclaimer out the way. Disclaimer: the views expressed by host and guests on the We All Be TV platform are not the official views, opinions, beliefs, or perspectives of We All Be News or the We All Be Group Incorporated. We All Be News is an organization that thoroughly believes in supplementing the information narrative that is usually supplied by the corporate news entities with those viewpoints, expressions, which may be marginalized or ignored for a plethora of reasons. We are about informing the general public on alternative perspectives as it relates to news and information and letting the general public be the ultimate judge in deciding on how to use said information. Informed citizens are responsible citizens. Thank you for your support. I think y'all heard all that. I want to thank y'all. And also, I want to thank everybody, not only listening, but also gave donations or donations. Thank you, King Bernard, for giving out a donation. Thank you so much, brother, for being consistent and being a supporter. And thank you, Shakiris Edwards for the $20. Keep on keeping on, bro. I appreciate that. They're gonna go a long way in my tank. I appreciate that so much. And thank you, Sister Duckworth. I receive all of that. Thank y'all family for listening. Know that the best is yet to come. More content is on the way without delay. So if you like the words from Brother Herd, please subscribe to the channel. We All Be TV YouTube being funny with the subscribers. I don't know what to make of it. But the views are going up. That's a great thing. More eyes and ears are opening up to what we're doing at We All Be TV. I'm thankful for those things, man. So I want to thank y'all for helping me out, for giving of your time, your energy, and of your money to making this cause a worthwhile one, and know that the best is yet to come. You guys, cash out your support, of course, at Cash App $R2C2H2, Google Pay, PayPal, R2C2H2 at gmail.com, Vimo at R2C2H2. You can also Zelle your support at R2C2H2 at gmail.com or 901-299-4355. You go buy Art of His Art to wear. This is my shirt, a Charlie Parker, Bird Lives. Go down below the description box to that Teespring shelf, R2C2H2's place. Some of our latest designs, creations. You can buy and hang up Art of His Art, R2C2H2.com. So thank you, family, so much for your patience, your time, your blessings, your love, your support, your encouragement. In the words of Duke Ellington, we love you madly. Keep on producing and pushing. And we are out of here. Yay, yay. One love.